Welcome to our kitchen. Today we prepare medieval bread soup from the Registrum Coquine by Johannes Bockenheim, written in the 15th century. We start with ingredients. We need bread, cheese and the spices, black pepper, cinnamon and saffron. We mince the cheese and grate the bread. The author doesn't specify which kind of cheese to use, but probably he means a fresh or a firm cheese, since he writes nothing about grating it, differently from the bread that clearly must be stale. In any case, use the kind of cheese you prefer. Fresh caciotta or scamorza are good choices. But if you want an aged cheese, we recommend pecorino or parmigiano. The only spice mentioned in the recipe is saffron. Bockenheim writes to use other good spices. We chose pepper and cinnamon, based on the other recipes of this cookbook. But you may use others, for example ginger, nutmeg or cloves. Then we soak the saffron in warm water and grind black pepper and cinnamon. We selected this recipe from a beautiful 15th century manuscript titled Registrum Coquine, written by a German cook who worked at the court of Pope Martin V. This preparation is surprisingly similar to another recipe we prepared in the past, a Greek dish called kandaulos that dates back to the 4th century before the Common Era. The main difference is the absence of meat. In addition, in the kandaulos there is dill, whereas in the Registrum Coquine we find spices as typical of medieval cuisine. Anyway, between the two recipes there is more than just a superficial similarity. You find the link to the kandaulos in the description below. We bring a bit of chicken broth to a boil. Then add a pinch of salt and the grated bread. When it thickens, we add the cheese and cook until it melts. Then we add the spices and saffron and cook for another minute. Bockenheim's recipe is recommended to the italics and the peasants. One of the characteristics of this book is that the author writes the social classes and nationalities his recipes are more suitable for. In this source we find the recipes for priests and laiks, kings and mercenaries, pimps and prostitutes. If you are interested in reading this book, you find our translation on Amazon, accompanied by an introduction and a glossary of the peculiar Latin in which Bockenheim writes. If you are interested in ancient food, check out Ancient Roman Cooking. For more information about earlier medieval cooking, we recommend the Observazione Ciborum, early medieval recipes at the court of the Franks, with a text written in the 6th century by the Byzantine physician Antimus for the king of the Franks. For more translations of medieval and ancient sources, check out our Patreon page. If you want to support our work, you can also buy us a beer or purchase our merchandise. You find all the links in the description below. This soup turned out pleasant and hearty, simple but delicious. It is very similar to traditional bread soups still used in some Italian regions, for example in Emilia, in which it is called paneda. The main ingredients for the paneda are generally stale bread, broth, cheese and butter or olive oil, more or less the same as Bockenheim's Ministrum de Panibus. If you're interested in ancient foods and flavors, subscribe our channel and consider supporting us on Patreon.